Hey there. Welcome back once again. It is time for the Golden Age of DC Comics, 365 days, where I take this beloved hardcover coffee table book given to me about 2 decades ago by one of my best friends. This has been surfing my coffee table ever since and has been a constant source of comic book shop style conversations, the kind I wish to recreate today here with you. And thank you so much for tuning in. The Golden Age of DC Comics runs between 1938 and 1955. The Silver Age between 1956 and 1970. The Bronze Age between 1970 and 1985. I'm a Bronze Age baby myself. And the Copper Age begins in 1985. I get these definitions and standards of the ages from the Overstreet Comic Book Price Guide. I feel that is a fair place to have such standards. This is a 2004 Abrams press publication written and curated by Chip Kidd, Geoff Spears, and Les Daniels. There is a link to the Amazon page in the description if you would like your own copy. It makes a great present for a geek, and it would look great on your coffee table. I know. And we're going to use this 365 days book for its intended purpose. We're going to open up to today's date, which is November the 23rd. We're going to look at some comic book art of an antediluvian age. We're going to read the blurb, and then we're going to talk about comic books. And we're going to talk about comic books every day for the rest of the year. Or, what was it? Every day for the rest of the year. That's right. Tune in tomorrow, 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern. Turn on those notifications. Eventually, you will learn how to tell time. I promise. Indeed. So let's get to it. Let's crack this book open. I hope you're having a great day, and I hope that you're clobbering your problems and not being clobbered by them. Over and out. Story by Bill Finger. Pencils by Jerry Robinson. Inks by Jerry Robinson and George Rousseau. From Batman issue number 13. November of 1942. Let me put on my reading voice. Okay, Pika? He's worried about my diction. I said, you know what? You don't have my consent to worry about my diction. Oh. After a couple of years on the job, the Joker had begun to mellow at least a little bit. His elaborate schemes to line his pockets and bask in the limelight were less likely to involve mass murder. In this outing, the criminal clown is fascinated with forgery, collecting the autographs of successful men to facilitate his felonies. When that fails, he kidnaps Robin and demands a ransom of $100,000. Batman agrees to the deal, and of course, could never break his word, but arranges for the Joker to be paid with a personal check that the master criminal will never be able to cash. Wah, wah, wah. It's Joker, ladies and gentlemen. The Joker. The Cypher. Whatever Batman needs him to be to tell story. And I was going to talk a little bit about Joker. And about modernity. And about retcon again. What is retcon? Well, I'll use the opportunity just to define it when it comes along more often than I won't. Just in case there are new viewers, retroactive continuity, or retcon for short, is a literary device in which established diegetic facts in the plot of a fictional work are adjusted, ignored, supplemented, or contradicted by a subsequently published work which recontextualizes or breaks continuity with the former. That's from the Wikipedia. Diegetic of sound in a movie occurring within the context of the story and able to be heard by the characters. It's an interesting way To say it, that's from the wiki. Retcon in a film, television series, or other fictional work is a piece of new information. I'm reading this from the Google definition of the word retcon. R-E-T-C-O-N, noun. Also a verb. As a noun, in a film, television series, or other fictional work, it's a piece of new information that imposes a different interpretation of previously described events, typically used to facilitate a dramatic plot shift or an account for an inconsistency as well. As a verb, it's to revise, to retcon something. You know what I mean? Retconning. That's a gerund. To revise, retrospectively, typically by introducing a new piece of information that imposes a different interpretation on previously described events. Retcon. There you go. Joker's a great example of retcon. Because over the past 82 years of his publication history, he's been very many different things. I like to call it a cipher, a literary cipher, that Joker's a blank. He doesn't have a real name. He doesn't have an origin story. He's a complete mystery. He's anything that story needs him to be to challenge Batman into getting tension, drama, and a resolution, and some adventure, and some excitement. But Joker that's why you never know what he's capable of. He doesn't have, he's anything you need him to be. Yeah, hence the literary cipher. You can fill that zero up with any information you need to get your desired result as the writer. There was something, so the Joker's been around for about 82 years or so. And so there's said to be 3 Jokers. I think there are more, especially when you have Batman, the animated series, that Joker, who is pretty much a definitive and a seminal version of Joker as a character and a depiction of the character. It's indelible and inseparable from Mark Hamill's portrayal of that character and the art style of how he looks. So how he looks actually factors into this a bit. There are, but let's just boil it down to its essentials. There was a 2020 comic book by Geoff Johns, the guy who does really good DC superhero comic books. So this is well thought, it's well plotted in history, but it's retcon. It's about, here, I'm just going to read this from the wiki, and I'm going to throw this idea by you. It's about Joker. And there are not just one Joker. There's not just Joker. There have always been 3 Jokers. Okay. 3 Jokers is an American comic book limited series published by DC Comicbooks. It is a spiritual successor to Batman the Killing Joke and Batman A Death in the Family, the 1988 much ballyhooed telephone call-in vote to decide the fate of the second Robin, Jason Todd. The 3-issue storyline was written by Geoff Johns, illustrated by Jason Fabok. He's awesome. And it began in August and concluded in October of 2020. And 3 Jokers, you got Batman, Batgirl, and Red Hood, who is the resurrected Jason Todd, the second Robin murdered by one of these Jokers, follow a lead on the Joker, who appears to have been 3 different men all along. And is it continuity or not? It's still up in the air, because continuity is such a fluid thing, and especially if you're making like one-shots. And but they call the Jokers here the criminal, the clown, and the comedian. The criminal would be the Golden Age Joker, the one we're talking about until today's panel, when they were saying that Joker has given up his mass murdering ways. So the criminal, Batman #1, you have this homicidal Joker. Then you have the clown, the campy, colorful showman, prankster Joker from the Silver and Bronze Age, and thus seemingly the silliest of the Jokers, who has a fondness for theatrics and embarks on criminal capers just for the attention he so craves. And then there is the comedian Joker, which would be, if you can see in your mind's eye, the Brian Boland art in The Killing Joke, Alan Moore's The Killing Joke, which may or may not have been Elseworlds the entire time, yet was the definitive Joker origin story for the Copper Age, coming out of this age of crises and Watchmen and Dark Knight Returns. You have a Joker story. And it was right around the time of the Tim Burton movie and Jack Nicholson's portrayal of Joker. And Batman was huge in the late 80s. I mean, he was everywhere, which all kind of culminated in 1992's Batman the Animated Series as well. But the comedian, the dangerous, depraved, sadistic psychopath Joker from the modern age, quite possibly the most evil of them all, who, behind his twisted sense of humor and creepy smile, is ultimately a malicious monster, feeling nothing but spite for what he sees as a cruel, irredeemable world, relishes in personally torturing Batman and everyone he cares about. And his attire, it seems to be based on the Killing Joke Batman, the Killing Joke Joker in that tale. And it started, I remember this too. I was kind of like, I had my eye, I wasn't buying at the time, but it was called The Dark Side War in Justice League of America, the JLA title, all right? And Batman sits on the Mobius chair, all right? The Mobius chair is it's like Doctor Who's TARDIS in the DC universe. It's like, but it's also at the same time it's the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's both at the same time, but neither. And he could access cosmic information, and he tests it by saying, "Who killed my parents?" Batman sat in the Mobius chair and asked it a question: Who killed my parents? Batman knows the answer to this. It's Joe Chill. And then Batman asks, what is the Joker's real name? And the answer stuns Batman. The Mobius chair responds, which one? There are three of them. There are three Jokers. And that is the setup to the payoff we eventually get in the DC Black Label Batman 3 Jokers. And I can always go back and read it. There's going to be a sequel. I mean, Jason Fabok is an amazing artist. I would love to just look at it. There's just going to be some, like, I've been spoiled on it, and I know that there are, like, some character moments in it that I'm rolling my eyes at, like, and ultimately I don't feel I need it, like, as part of my collection. Your collection is an accumulation, and it's a finite amount of space you have, and you need to be very picky about what you pick up, because it's hard to get rid of it. And I have, like, several long boxes. They're very heavy. These long, I mean, they're quite, you need help moving these things. I mean, maybe I just have to break them up into smaller boxes. I think that's going to be the next thing when I do a bagging, boarding, and reboxing next year. Just put them in the smaller boxes. But I mean, a long box full of comic books, it's literally heavy. I mean, there's just so many print publications in there, with the addition of a Mylar bag and a cardboard backing board. I mean, yeah, this takes up space, literal space. I have no space for my nerdery, my geekery anymore. I mean, I've maxed out my space. But I still buy comic books. I have nowhere to put them. Nowhere. So, like, why would I, so you need to be picky about what you buy. You can buy anything you want. You can buy but also we need to take chances on new comic books and things we didn't know we would be buying. So, there's Yeah, there's a balance there. And, well, we've been talking about comic books, haven't we? Huh? And we're going to talk about comic books every day for the rest of the year. So tune in tomorrow, 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern, and we'll find out who we're talking about when we turn the page tomorrow. Please like and subscribe. I would love to earn your subscription. We make daily content here. We make regular content about cooking, about spirituality and purpose, and I make daily content about comic books because I love talking about comic books. And if you love talking about comic books, you are in the right place at the right time. So turn on those notifications and ring that bell. Like and subscribe. Thank you so very much. God bless. Namaste. Good luck. And we will see you again tomorrow in those funny pages. Ciao. Bye-bye.